I'm Katie LaGrone. More sudden changes at New College of Florida. This time, the school's communications chief is out just 2 months after he was hired as part of the state's controversial overhaul at the school. He's only talking to me about what he witnessed while he was there and why he says the public has reason to be concerned.
I am probably the shortest run vice president at a state university. And so my relationship with New College after a couple of months has come to an end.
Just 2 months after he was hired to take over communications for New College of Florida, Ryan Terry says Monday morning he got a call from the school's legal and human resources staff telling him he was fired.
It really came as really a huge surprise.
Terry, seen here during a recent interview we had with school leadership, says he was recruited to the executive team after a successful run with the Department of Health in Hillsborough County, and tells us he's not sure why he was terminated, but describes a recent conversation he had with New College's interim president, Richard Corcoran.
I was told that I was not hired to be concerned with school morale. I was told I was not hired to set the strategy for the school. I was hired to go toe-to-toe with the media. I was hired to, quote, call them out for their lies.
Terry's sudden departure is just the latest breakup at a campus that has become widely known for its controversial splits and rebuilds. In January, Governor Ron DeSantis appointed 6 new conservative members to the school's Board of Trustees. Since then, the board has eliminated the school's diversity office, started abolishing its gender studies program, and dozens of professors have left following what critics describe as a hostile state takeover to transform the publicly funded college into a politically motivated conservative think tank.
There's no college that'll be more open to free speech than any other college.
While Corcoran, a former Republican Speaker of the House and strong political ally of Governor DeSantis, denied those claims to us recently, Ryan says that's not what he witnessed on the inside.
The experience at the school says something entirely different, and it really is an attack on academic freedom, an attack on higher education. It feels that if you don't believe how the administration, believe wholeheartedly in the administration's vision, if you differ in any way, that you're not welcome here.
What do you say to critics who might hear all this and say, you know what, he's just an angry employee?
What I say to them is, I was hired because I was seen as an expert in my field.
Terry's termination comes as a surprise to faculty leaders on campus.
This is stunning news to me.
Amy Reed is the only faculty member on the school's new Board of Trustees and has been publicly critical of the state's takeover.
It is not good news for the administration that they have needed to fire their own communications director after such a short amount of time.
What do you think the future of New College is?
I think the future is very shaky, and I get very scared when anybody wants to exert that much control over a public institution.
I reached out to New College about all of this. The school confirms Terry is no longer employed there, but is not commenting on personnel matters. The timing of all of this is also notable. On Tuesday, the Board of Trustees is scheduled to select the school's permanent president, a position Richard Corcoran is widely seen as a frontrunner for. I'm Katie LaGrone reporting.
The Supreme Court justices will hear dozens of cases in the coming months, including cases revolving around social media rights, gun rights, voting rights, and even one where they will determine if the family who's behind the company that created OxyContin should be personally be held liable for damages. On the first Monday of October, the U.S. Supreme Court starts its new term. That's a mandate under the law. So far, the 9 justices have agreed to hear about 20 cases. Voting rights will be on the radar again. Civil rights groups sued South Carolina for drawing maps that have 1 instead of 2 predominantly black districts. If a majority of the justices side with civil rights groups, Democrats could win another seat in Congress where Republicans have a tiny advantage. The Second Amendment will be up for review again after a Texas man was convicted for going on a weeks-long shooting spree while he also had a restraining order against him. That conviction was eventually reversed. Now justices will have to determine if that man was allowed to have a gun in the first place. politics and social media will collide as justices hear arguments on if politicians are allowed to make their accounts private and block people who criticize them online. Justices will also decide if family members behind the company that created OxyContin should personally be held responsible for damages because of the ongoing opioid epidemic. A Gallup survey in July showed 40% of Americans approve of how the Supreme Court is handling its job. That's down from 58% 3 years ago. And ethics on the High Court is under scrutiny after revelations some justices have accepted high-end gifts from political donors.
So, how likely is it that the court would adopt a code of conduct?
It's becoming more and more likely that the court is going to adopt a code of conduct. And that's simply a reflection of reality, which is if they don't do it, Congress is going to force it on them. So they really have two choices at this point: clean up their game or have it cleaned up for them. And I think historically they have tended to try and get ahead of these things.
And just today, the justices determined that they will not be hearing a case that revolves around the eligibility of former President Donald Trump being able to run for the office of the presidency once again. This challenge was brought by a little-known Republican challenger. But once again, the justices are saying they will not be taking up this case. Ava Joy Burnett, Scripps News, Washington.
Whether a computer whiz, a beginner, or somewhere in the middle like me, technology can be tricky.
Especially when there's someone in your inbox pretending to be someone they're not. I'm Candace Blake, your Thomasville neighborhood reporter, and here's what you need to know. When it comes to what's happening in Thomasville, you know you can find it on Facebook. When scrolling online today, a post from the Thomasville Police Department caught my attention. TPD posted that a scam is taking aim at city events. I checked in with the visitor center to find out more. It was there that they told me that someone was posing as a city employee trying to get payment information from potential vendors. As I set out to find people who had received one of those emails, I connected with Kathleen Kelly. She's the managing partner at Kevin's. While she was not a victim of the scam going around, she says that she's experienced something very similar Saturday.
I had emails, 3 of them from Amazon, so I thought, saying, wanting to verify whether I had bought these gift cards at hotels.com and Google Play, and those are places I don't even shop.
Kelly was quick on her feet, and instead of responding to the email, she called her bank directly to find out what was going on.
I checked with the Federal Trade Commission, and they said that you can protect yourself from scams by protecting your computer with security software. Your Thomasville neighborhood reporter, Candace Blake, ABC 27.
Pretty steady weather as we go into the next 2 to 3 days, just like what we had today. Lots of sunshine, couple passing clouds in the afternoon. Not a whole lot of moisture, modest muggy meter, I guess you could say, not very high. And then later